let me ask you this. Why do you think, forget Kentucky for a second, because they seem to be far and away the best team in this tournament.
Kentucky.
They're going to lose, by the way.
Why do you think we see so many lower seeds being higher seeds now? Why do you think there are so many close games? Why do you think there's more parity in the college game now?
I think it's in large part because after you get past the top 5 or 6 teams, there aren't very many good teams. If one player goes to Indiana State, like a Larry Bird, then Indiana State back in the day was a very good basketball team. But now the Larry Bird of today stays wherever he goes for 1 year. So I think once you get to about the 7th team in the overall field of 68, there isn't that much difference between team number 7 and team number 55. Now Hampton's no good.
No,
but
it looked like men against boys yesterday, frankly.
But Stephen F. Austin, Stephen A. Austin, Stephen A. Smith, whatever that school is, they were an okay basketball team, but they're not a great team. But they were in a position to win the game. That was Utah, I believe.
But they had a chance because they had beaten during the regular season Sam Houston Institute of Technology, and I thought that when you consider that Stephen A. Austin or Stephen F. Austin or Roberts or whoever it is in Texas, I tend to.
It's dogs, cats, and evangelists mostly.
I tend to agree with him. In watching the games last night, I decided that the quality of play is awful. The quality of play across the board is awful, but the games are great.
Is it awful because nobody stays in school much, the star players? So it's almost as if every coach and every team is starting over every year?
I think that's part of it, and I think that athleticism rules the day when you're at AAU tournaments growing up, and there's not enough guys that can shoot. You were talking about the Purdue game. I watched that game toward the end, and the Purdue-Cincinnati game, it was competitive, but I'm going, these guys are terrible.
It was wild, wasn't it?
But here's what happens, and I add to this, what you're talking about is fundamentally they're not sound.
Right.
It's because they've gone in a totally different direction of, being able to dunk and being able to shoot three-pointers.
Yeah. And nothing in between, it seems.
And so they go to the AAU games. They're not going to those great camps that used to be Pete Maravich camps, the Peyton Manning camps in football. Well, I shouldn't say Peyton Manning.
They're not going to camps to learn. They're going to camps to get a scholarship, to get recognized.
Well, exposure.
So you dunk and you shoot.
Let's take the Purdue game.
Right.
That what happened over the last 3 minutes and in overtime is that it turned into a playground game.
It did.
Whoever got the ball was going to shoot it.
Was going to take it to the
what
rack.
happened is Cincinnati took it inside and got an easy layup because they weren't playing defense. But you go down at the other end, Purdue's throwing up a wild three-pointer from the corner, and that it seems like, okay, now I'm going to show my stuff.
Yeah.
That you don't have. I mean, was there a coach there that said, let's get a timeout here and actually set up some kind of play?
Funny you say that. He wasn't even upset when they started playing wildly. There didn't seem to be all that much concern from the coach. He just called the timeout, went to the huddle, didn't scream at anybody. It's almost as if it was accepted. That style of play was accepted.
Give it to Fred Smith, whoever it might be, and just everybody get out of the way and let him work. Well, that works on the pro level where you've got a Michael Jordan or you've got an Allen Iverson when he was at the top of his game, or you've got a Westbrook. Yeah, you can do that, but in college, if you looked at, and I take that one specific game because I watched it very closely, that A, every guy wanted to be the hero, and B, they all reverted to being 18-year-old kids. That's what they are, because they're mostly, I shouldn't say mostly.
They didn't revert. They are 18-year-old kids.
Yes, whatever they control they were under as 18-year-old kids, it goes away at the end. Okay, I'm going to make the big shot. The quality of play is so bad, but because it's bad, it's even.
Right.
It's even.
It's a coin flip.
We have a friend we work with over there that goes to the YMCA every day. I am certain, without ever having gone over to the YMCA, that those are crappy games. But they're probably very close because you got a bunch of old men playing basketball. And when you played softball, wasn't it close? Because there were a bunch of baseball or softball when you played for some radio or TV team. You said you played in your 50s.
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty crappy ball.
Because at that point, we were all bad.
Yeah.
It was bad against bad.
Equal.
Old against old.